Alright, what's up everybody? So we got another video for you today. Today is an exciting one. We are actually going to be installing these Cusco Upper Control Arms on the GR86. As I mentioned in videos in the past with the suspension video, we do rub in the back slightly. So if we take a look, you can actually see on the tire here that it's rubbing right on the edge here. And it's obviously in the typical GR86 spot where it kind of rubs right here, and then especially where the fender garnish is, it kind of goes into. And it's not the fender garnish itself, I'm pretty sure, because it doesn't feel like the fender garnish is being rubbed. I think it's the little like metal right here, and for sure the fender liner, because the fender liner is kind of coming off. As you can see, like if you look at it from the top, and I'm trying to get like a good angle, you can see that the wheel kind of comes out a little bit more than the edge of the fender. So we're going to use those upper control arms to kind of push the top of this wheel in towards the car a little bit more. That's also the reason why I went with upper control arms over lower control arms. So with 86s, a lot of people will put lower control arms to get more negative camber, obviously, so that the wheel is a little more slanted. The thing about lower control arms is it doesn't really sink the wheel in, it pushes the wheel out. So what it does is it takes the lower part of the wheel and it'll push it out, but it'll leave the top of the wheel where it is because of the upper control arm. So basically what you're doing is, if the wheel is looking like this, super straight, you're pushing it out, but the top of the wheel still stays where it's supposed to, right? With upper control arms, what you're doing is, instead of pushing the wheel out, you're taking the wheel where it's supposed to be and you're pulling it in, right? And that's what we want to do, because we don't want this wheel coming out more. We want the top of the wheel going in. So that's what we're going to be installing today, so we can fix that rubbing issue. Hopefully it doesn't continue on. We want to get 3 degrees of negative camber in the back. So we're going to get as close as we can to 3 degrees. And then we are going to have to get an alignment. Obviously, anytime you add suspension pieces to your car or modify the angle, suspension, even the height of the car, you want to get an alignment to make sure that everything's still straight. In another video or later on, we'll get an alignment so that everything is working right. I forgot to talk about what the benefit of having upper control arm is. Obviously for me, it's the rubbing issue. That's the main reason why I got upper control arms. But if you add more negative camber, obviously your cornering is going to be a little bit better, because instead of the wheel being straight where the weight kind of pushes to one side or the other when it's cornering, having it angled is kind of like stancing it in a way, like pushing it and making sure that it's kind of flat. So even when you do hit bumps and stuff like that or corners, it's not swaying as much. So that's the benefit of having negative camber on the car, especially for track use, especially when you're hitting those really hard turns. You're gonna want that negative camber. Now the thing is, usually you wanna have more negative camber in the front than you do in the back, right? Because the front is kind of like the main attack point. It's the first thing that kind of hits a corner. So when we add 3 degrees of negative camber in the back, we only have 2.5 in the front. So we are gonna have to come back and do some either modification to the coilover, slot it a little bit larger so that we can get more angle in the front, or maybe get camber bolts to fix that. But we're gonna revisit that later on. For now, I just want to get the rubbing issue fixed, and I want to get 3 degrees of camber in the back. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, this is a track car, right? So we want to make sure that we have everything kind of noted and taking notes of every change that we're doing to the car. And one of the main things that we want to talk about when we start building a track car is weight, because obviously weight to power ratios, you know, when we change that, obviously helps the car move faster and things like that. So I ordered a shipping scale from Amazon, right? Which goes up to, I think, 400 and something pounds, 440 pounds. Yeah, it says right here. So we're gonna be weighing the new Cusco Upper Control Arms to the OEM Upper Control Arms. And I believe these weigh less. Obviously they're cut and they're built specifically for track use. So I believe these weigh less than the upper control arms. We're gonna be seeing that, and going forward, we're gonna be using this scale for pretty much every install that we do, comparing OEM parts to aftermarket parts, and kind of taking note of what we think the estimated weight of this car is. Eventually I do want to weigh this car because we've already done things and haven't weighed them, like coilovers, obviously, the weight of the wheel compared to an OEM wheel, which we can actually do that, but we can't weigh the coilovers anymore unless I take them out and I have to find my OEM suspension, which I think is like in my attic or something. But yeah, for now, we'll start with the upper control arms and any mods going forward, and we'll get an estimated weight. And then once I weigh it, actually, we can kind of work from there. But it'll be super cool to see the differences between the weight of aftermarket pieces and OEM pieces and how it affects the car for track use and other things like that. Let me stop rambling on and let's start getting this stuff installed. Oh, you know what I forgot? I realized that I forgot my light bar. So we're gonna have to use something else. I guess iPhone will do for now. But if you take a look for the upper control arm, you can see that it's right here. This is the ball joint on the top. Goes all the way towards the back, and you can see back there, oh, that right there, there's a bolt right, all right, there's a bolt right there, and I think there's a nut on the other side, or maybe that's the nut and that's the bolt, but you can see like it's right there. So we gotta take that side out, and then if you look on the other side, it's the exact same thing. We gotta take that side out also. So we take those out first, and then we take the nut that's on the side of this, take it out, and then we're probably gonna have to hammer this a little bit, but it'll come right out. All right, so I'll try to get the best angle I can. Obviously I don't have a flashlight, so it's gonna be a little hard, but I'll do my best. Side, which looks even more difficult to get to. Oh, thank God. Got it. Okay, so there's a bracket here. the little 10 mil right here. You see that? And it's holding this cable in. I think that's the, I think it's an ABS cable or wheel speed sensor maybe. But yeah, so we're gonna take this little 10 mil out right here, and then we should be able to have this cable free of the control arm. And then we are gonna take out this guy right here, which is gonna free up this ball joint. And then we're just gonna take this ball joint out. And I left the bolt back here just to hold it in place just in case, because I don't want it to just drop. And then we'll take that out and it should be able to come out. So let's get that done. Okay, it looks like there's another one back there. So next is taking out this bad boy right here. Oh, here we go. Hope I caught that. Fucking finally. Holy shit, this thing is heavy. Fucking got it out. Let's go. Alright boys, that took so much fucking work, but we got it out. Now I want to weigh this to see what it weighs, and then we'll weigh the Cusco. And we'll note it on the whiteboard over there. Turn this thing on. Set to 0. Put that bad boy right there, centered it. 8 pounds, 11 ounces. All right, let's grab the Cusco ones. .46. Oh wait, no. 5 pounds, 4.6 ounces. So what is that, 2.5? 2.5 times 2 is 5 pounds. 5 pounds less weight on the car. Can't complain. 5 pounds off the car on the rear is not bad. Well, we got one side out. We're gonna do the other side and then we'll go ahead and install these bad boys. Something I forgot to mention is, like I said, these are adjustable, right? So you can adjust the camber. We got the same side, and what most people will do is they'll kind of make sure that they're around the same length between the OEM one and the adjustable one, and then they'll kind of go from there. So we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that they're the same length, and then we'll go ahead and reinstall it into the car. Alright, since I have the wheel off right now also, I want to weigh the wheel and compare it to one of my stock wheels, which I have over there. And let's see what the weight difference is, and we'll note that on the whiteboard also. Still at 0. All right, it's holding itself up on the scale. We're at 45 pounds, 13 ounces. 45 pounds, 13 ounces. Don't mind my chicken scratch here. I got a feeling these wheels are heavier because those are 9.5s and these are 7. Oh shit, this is fucking heavy actually. Forgot how heavy it was, but those are 9.5s, these are 7.5s. So I almost feel like they're either the same weight or the 7.5s might be a little bit lighter. That's why a lot of people will run 17s when they go on the track. They save a little bit of weight. 41 pounds, 7 ounces. All right, so you can see that there's a 4.5 difference between these two. All right, let's go back. When you put the control arm in, you have to make sure that you adjust the length before you do that. So what you typically would do is you would take the length of your stock control arms, right? You would match that with the Cusco control arm, and then you would get the exact same fitment that you had before. In our case, we want to negatively camber more the car, right? So what I did was I actually shortened it by, I think it was 1/8. I think it was 1/8 of an inch to get more camber out of the car, right? Off camera, I did the passenger side just to see if the length was right. And let me show you exactly what it's looking like right now. There's less light on this side, so I'm sorry about that. But if you look from the top, you can see that the wheel is no longer, the top part of the wheel is no longer displaying. So we're getting a lot more camber in here. If you look from the side, you can kind of see. The thing is, I think it's more camber than I wanted. So when I get it aligned, I'm going to tell them the camber specs that I want, and they'll be able to adjust it. But I think for now it's going to be fine. We have the same length on the driver's side, so we're going to go ahead and install it with the length that it has right now. And once we get aligned, then we will make sure to adjust it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in, and then we're going to take a drive, see if it's rubbing or if it's not rubbing. I know a perfect spot in my neighborhood kind of thing where the car rubs. So I'm going to try to hit that bump and see if we're rubbing. If we're not rubbing, I might want to come back and lower the back a little bit, because it was a little high, the back, obviously because of the rubbing issue. But if we're not rubbing anymore, I think I could drop it, and I think it'd look a little bit better, honestly, because there's a nice gap in the back. Honestly, there's maybe a finger, 2-finger gap, and we want to reduce that. Let's go ahead and install these, and then we'll go for a drive. Oh, I also I found this light, which is probably blowing out the camera right now, but I found this kind of head-mounted light that Danielle's mom got me. So it's been helping out a lot. Helped a lot with the passenger side. So I'm going to use it, even if I look kind of dumb with it on, because it's helping me out a lot. So also something I noticed is these two are different lengths. If you look at this, the length of this one is shorter than the length of this one. You can see this part right here is longer on this side. So the shorter obviously goes with the shorter side. The longer obviously goes with the longer side. And if you forget if the nut goes on the outside or on the inside when putting it in, the nut goes on the outside on both sides. I noticed that also when I was taking out the other one, and I forgot, so always remember, nut goes on the outside. bracket right here. For these Cusco upper control arms, there is no bolt. Remember when we took these out, we had two 10 mils. These upper control arms don't have any. On the instructions that I had to translate from Japanese to English, it comes with 3 zip ties, and you have to zip tie this middle part to this piece, this part right here of the control arm. But you have to make sure you leave enough slack on both the outside and this part over here, so that when the suspension travels, it won't get pulled and it won't rip the actual wires or the covers or whatever. So we have to take this bracket out, get rid of it, and basically save it somewhere where we can keep it if we ever trade the car in or something like that, and use zip ties to hold it onto the control arm. These are kind of funky to get out. I kind of just pulled from both sides and it eventually comes out. See how it pops out? These are super flimsy too. Like this metal bracket here is not very strong. But if you pull it, eventually it'll come out. There we go. See, I like bent the bracket, but you can kind of just bend it back with your finger. Save these in case you want to trade your car in. If you don't want to trade your car in, keep it forever, then you can throw these out, I guess, but I'm going to save them just in case. You never know what might happen. And like I said, leave enough slack here in the back, leave enough slack on the top here, and I would probably, the other side I zip tied them to the top of the control arm. I'm probably going to do the same here. And just kind of leave it like this. That way this, slack here, slack there, and we should be good to go. Tighten those two, the lock nuts on the control arm too, so that it doesn't like rattle, click, make random sounds that it's not supposed to. We're not going to tighten them super hard because obviously it needs to get in alignment, but we do want to prevent it from like making weird noises. So do that. Go for a drive. When I got the wheels, I had ordered these and I forgot to put them on when I put the wheels on, but hub-centric rings, just so you know the wheel doesn't bounce around. Good for track. Some people say it's not really worth the trouble, but I haven't had problems with my wheels, so I didn't feel a need to put them on at any point, but let's put them on for now because I paid for them. So. All right, we'll put the car down and we'll go for a test drive. We'll see how it feels. I don't know. can't tell if I like it or not. I could, honestly, I could probably pull it out more based on like what my finger's feeling. Maybe not. It does kind of match the front though. If we like, let's say, let's put this down, we're like there. Let's go to the front in the same spot. Yeah, it's just about the same. Alright, maybe we'll keep it like that. But obviously I have to go get an align anyway. That one looks like it's in more. This one looks like it has more camber. Either way, we'll go get an alignment to make sure that we get no more than 3 degrees. I don't want any more than 3 degrees in the back. Anything more than 3 degrees is probably pushing it. Like I said, the fronts we're gonna have to do like 3.5. We can match 3 or go higher. We can't go lower. Right now we're at 2.5 and 3. So we're gonna have to go to 3 at least. Which now is 2.5. It's gonna tuck in a little bit more, but maybe we can go lower in the car on both sides, both in the front and in the back. And just not stance it out, but at least look a little lower than it already is. We'll see if we still rub. I doubt that we rub. From what I'm touching with my fingers, it doesn't seem like we're going to, but let's go test that out anyway. So something I realized is that I forgot to tighten the back bolt and nut for this side of the control arm. So I definitely wouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend driving without tightening those. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten those. Dope. So tighten those back ones. Realized that this one, this one also wasn't tight. So I just went ahead and tightened that. Everything is super tight now. And now we are ready for our first test drive. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't rub anymore and then we can lower the car. So let's get going. Is there any clanking, any sounds, any weird shit going on? That's front. Ooh. Nothing weird there. Alright, nothing weird there. Doesn't feel weird when it's turning. Got a bump here. Felt good. I gotta turn the AC on. Whew! It's fucking hot today in Tampa. My car's saying 79, but it feels really fucking humid. It feels super fucking humid. Alright, I'm heading towards that crazy bump that I know that I rub on. It's a good way to test to see if it's better or not. Oh, that was a tough one. No rubbing though. That's a good sign. This is amazing, honestly. That rubbing issue has been an issue and a worry of mine for a while now. So to feel no rubbing right now is amazing. Like that right there, that would have rubbed hard. No rubs. Even there, no rubs. Nothing. Oh, here we go. Fuck, that hurts, but no rub. So we're in the clear, boys. Let's go. All right, so now we're gonna go back home, lower the suspension, and kind of just retest, make sure that we're not rubbing now after making modifications. So yeah, this is awesome. Okay, so I realized that it's probably not a good idea to lower the car until I get an alignment, because this might be over 3 degrees of camber, and if it goes back to 3, obviously the top is gonna push out a little bit more, and then maybe I'll start rubbing again. So I'm thinking in another video I'll go get an alignment, and then after I get the alignment I'll adjust the height both in the rear and in the front, because the front doesn't really have rubbing issues, but I didn't want to lower it anymore because the back couldn't be lowered. But now that I can adjust the back a little bit more, I could probably adjust the front also and drop it down a little bit more. Obviously I think it'll be good. It's good for aerodynamics. It's bad for rubbing and going into steep hills and stuff like that, but it'll look fucking sick too. So we're gonna hold off on that for another video. So as we said in the car, feels really good. There's no clanking from the suspension. There's no clanking from the upper control arms that I heard. We hit some pretty hard bumps and there's no rubbing, which is a huge accomplishment. That's the reason I got these upper control arms. Like, what do you guys think? Doesn't this, I mean, personally, I think it still looks really good. It's more sunken in the top, so it doesn't have that super flush fitment anymore. But I still think it looks good, and obviously, this is a track car, right? So like, it doesn't have to look amazing. Fitment doesn't have to be amazing as long as it performs perfectly. And that's what we really want to worry about, is performance, not so much aesthetic. Even though I'm huge about the aesthetic and I want to make sure the car looks good, I need to make sure that it performs good first. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the upper control arms. It accomplished what I needed it to, and we can cross that off the list. Next steps are going to be obviously getting an alignment and then adjusting the height so we can lower it a little bit more, and then we'll go on to our next thing. I'm not sure yet what our next video is going to be. I might start working on the BRZ because the holidays are coming up, so obviously it's going to be a little bit of a busier time. So I wanted to get this done before the holidays, and then after the holidays and the new year, I think it's going to be time to start working on this bad boy. And I think my New Year's resolution for next year is going to be getting this car at least running with a motor. I think my plan is to rebuild the F820, get it running, and then sell it and put in a different motor. Haven't fully decided what motor it is yet. I kind of keep flip-flopping on my idea of what I want to put in here. But yeah, I think the main goal is to get the F820 running, and that'll be my goal for next year. Get the car running, and then we'll start preparing for the motor swap. We'll start getting all the parts and all the bits that we need for the motor swap, and then we'll leave the motor for last. Once we have the motor, then we'll start getting rid of this one. So yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate every one of you supporters. Lately my channel has been doing better than usual. I've been getting a good amount of subscribers and views and watch hours, so I truly appreciate all of you for watching, supporting, subscribing, liking, all of that stuff. So like always, if you like my content, please go ahead and like it. Please subscribe if you want to see more of it. I see all of it. I see every single subscriber. I'm still a small channel, so every subscriber that I see, it always makes me happy, because it brings joy to my life that other people are getting value out of my videos. I appreciate you as always, and we'll see you next time. Peace.